We had a great time working. Well, we first met a couple years ago, and we worked on Beauty School, which is out on, I guess, Showtime or USA Up All Night.
Yeah, it's a private screenings production.
And we had a great time working with that production company. Then we worked together on Depraved. We worked together on Vampire Vixens from Venus, which we all have all the poster work here. And separately, we've worked on projects on our own, and we've done some poster work. We've done so many things together, trading cards. I just finished filming Attack of the 60-Foot Centerfold. She did Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds Part 2. I've done some correspondence work for Comedy Central.
HBO Hardcore TV,
yeah,
Playboy Lingerie, we've both done. We can go on and on and on. we won't stop.
I don't want to bore you with this. Well, we both auditioned for Troma's production of Tromeo and Juliet. So that remains to see how that goes. We do a lot of work for Troma. Often they like us to be their Tromettes and their spokespeople. So whenever they have, grand openings or introductions into Planet Hollywood, things like that, they always call the both of us up to do it. We've done America's Talking for Troma.
And also, Film Line Productions is coming out with, they're having 3 scripts that are looked at right now, so we're up for all 3 of them.
Yeah, come summer, so they're looking at summer production.
That's right.
For one of the 3 scripts. They're just not sure.
It's hard to say, because we auditioned for so many things separately and together. And until you get that final word and the final contract, that's when we'll really know. We've got tons of posters and calendars that we just did. We have the lighters. We just got done talking with people that are going to do product models. We've got all kinds of things. You name it.
Today we could be sitting here and we could say nothing. We've got no auditions. And then tomorrow the phone could ring, which it does.
You know what?
And boom, we have a part by the end of the week.
That's right.
So
and the other thing, too, which has helped us out quite a bit and we really enjoy, is we've worked with femme fatales very often, and we're going to be in there. I'm telling you, we're probably going to be in the next several issues.
Right, and they're talking really about doing a cover of both of us. Because femme fatales, most of the girls that are in their magazine are LA-based or West Coast-based. And they don't really have a full base here on the East Coast. And since we do so much together, they want to promote us as a team. So, hey, I'm willing to be on the cover with her. What, are you crazy?
we have future plans, but mostly we would like to stick to getting more film work, even ones with bigger budgets.
Come on, tell them. I'll tell them if you don't tell them.
No, I'll tell them. Okay.
Yeah, you tell them.
We're actually in the line of production of writing our own script. We have it pretty much completed, and we're looking to shoot it at the end of this summer, '95. So, and we're both going to be in it, of course. Our work, right?
All the freak shows going on behind the camera, so you guys at home cannot see this, but it's pretty crazy here.
I can be excited. I can get high. Real high!
Now you're hot.
I'm JJ North, and my fan club is P.O. Box 946, Jackson, New Jersey, 08527.
And again, I'm Theresa Lynn. Thanks for watching. If you'd like any further information or product material, you can contact me at P.O. Box 6057, Hoboken, New Jersey, 07030. Thank you.
Hoboken. Hoboken. Ho Jackson.
Ho Jackson.
She lives in Hoboken.
You pull away again, and there won't be enough left of you for an open casket funeral. Now, what's your name? I said, what's your name? Since we're gonna be such close friends.
Kelly.
Now, Kelly, you wouldn't want someone in your family to get woken up tonight to have to come down and identify your fucking body now, would you?
No,
huh?
please don't hurt me. I am a kid.
Then we better hurry up so she can get back to our kid. Well, I hope we don't get any more resistance out of you, because I'd hate to have to pay your little kid a visit.
Now watch as 2 grown men rub mayonnaise all over their bodies and... Oh, never mind. This is 2 directors. Olen Ray, Ted Boas.
These women are actually my minions, my disciples.
Oh, yeah? What are you, a high priest kind of character or something? What is this, some ancient chainsaw-worshipping cult?
Actually, That's just what it is.
Oh, yeah? What do? Pray to Black and Decker?
This is Ted and this is Fred.
Ted and Fred.
We're here to play Super Password. Let's turn all the cards over and go to our first question. What is it?
Money, I'd say money.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah, well, budgets are different. Every film's different. You know, you go as high as you can get, and when you don't have that, you go as low as whatever can get the job done. I'd say the highest budget I've ever worked with was we produced a picture called Bulletproof, which was a $5 million disaster, which I did not direct, and Deep Space, which was $1.5 million production, which I did direct and produce. And the lowest was probably The Alien Dead, which I spent about $12,000 making.
Let's see. The highest was Metamorphosis: The Alien Factor, which was $1.2 million, and the lowest was probably Deadly Spawn, which came in for around about 20 grand, I guess.
Yeah, you just said that in print in a magazine, so
yeah, I know.
Make sure you
so
keep your story straight.
I have to keep my story straight with the money.
You're going to embellish and make sure you read your own interviews.
That's right.
Okay.
What? Well, actually, Fred is much more famous for using short shooting schedules than I am. I usually try to have
Your
at
movies
least...
just look like you shot them in
That's right. It just looks like I had... But I usually try to get 2 to 3 weeks, and I know Fred has done some 5-day wonders or something.
5 days. I've done about 3 or 4 pictures. Usually that's because it's my own money and I have very little. I take my paycheck off a bigger show and I go out and make a whole movie with it, which makes for a very low-budget movie on one hand, but a very high-powered paycheck, if you consider it that way too, on the other hand, from the other film. We made Terminal Force and Beverly Hills Vamp and Bad Girls from Mars, 5 days each, and movies like Bikini Drive-In and Witch Academy, Phantom Empire, Hollywood Chainsaw, Beverly Hills Vamp, Demon Sword. Those were all like 6-day movies. And then, of course, those are the pictures. The only time we do that is when it's our own money and we have a very limited amount of money to spend. Sort of like the guy who works all day down at Time Magazine. When he takes his paycheck home, he makes a fanzine on the Xerox machine down at Kinko's. It's sort of the same sort of equating thing. I take the money and run. Don't use that. Sometimes really eerie stuff does happen, though. I wrote a novel based on a screenplay that I wrote in 1983, the original Biohazard, and in that someone is bitten by a genetic mutant creature, and to stop the infection, they poured sulfuric acid on their arm. And then I just realized last night in watching Ted's thing that the character in his movie does the same thing. Now, my novel's never been published yet, so I'm not saying that Ted ever saw that, but the fact is that we both thought of the same thing. If a mutant bites you and you might get infected, the first thing you would do is pour acid on your arm. Now, why we both think that way, I don't know, but I hope nothing bites me and Ted's standing near a bottle of acid.
Quick, sulfur, it bubbles up and makes for a nice effect. That's the only reason to do it. Cauterizes the wound, as they say. But
it removes the wound.
Removes the wound.
Creating a new one.
That's right.
What in God's name is that thing?
I don't know, but I'm not taking its temperature. Look at this thing. Jesus Christ! Freaking thing's pissing on me.
No, never.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their little, little quirks.
Well, the answer, of course, is yes.
Yes.
Yes, of course we have.
But we don't want to tell any stories about them.
Of course you do.
We want to tell stories about them.
Go ahead.
Well, Tanya Roberts was.
Wait a minute.
That's your story. Well, Charlie Callis was a lot of fun to work with. We used him on the film, and he's
temperamental.
He's temperamental, but he was very funny. He's always
in a temperamental sort of way.
In a temperamental sort of way, exactly. But otherwise, mostly the girls we've worked with are really good. Every now and then you get a little flare up because you're working under such crazy conditions. I mean, it's either very hot or it's a very long days, and sometimes you have a problem there. But Fred has worked with many more name actors and actresses that, from what I understand, have caused some real fun problems, which I'm sure he'd like to tell us about.
Well, I can't say except that there are certain actors who are going to be a handful. And they're a handful no matter who gets them.
Handful.
And and I've gotten a few of them, and in varying degrees. I would say that my favorite list of people I've worked with would probably be Heather Thomas, Tanya Roberts, Michael Nuri, and maybe Bo Svensson, who I like a lot, but was certainly a handful. Yes, I did. I killed him. I killed Telly Savalas.
He said, I've worked on a Fred film.
And Telly Savalas and Richard Roundtree were both in that picture. Telly was not a handful. He was a very pleasant guy. I was really amazed at what a sense of humor that he had, and because I'd seen him in so many movies where he played these heartless bastards, like Horror Express, and what was that movie with O.J. and Christopher Lee? It was called the Killing. Something. Peter Fonda too. It was about diamonds. Anyway, Telly was a very badass in that. So I was pretty much expecting that man to show up on the set, and I went and had lunch with him one day, and he found out he was a very sweet guy and he had a great sense of humor.
We have a big opening of a new drive-in, and I'm just wondering if you could tell your listeners about it.
Absolutely not.
I have it written down right here. See?
So, what's in it for the Rocket?
Well, what do you mean?
Moolah, De Niro, cash,
money.
Hey, lady, I'm not in this for the glamour. Oh. And coming to you straight, it's the #1 song this week from a band I really like a lot.
I don't have any money.
You're wasting my time.
I have something much better. Let me show you.
Of course. Ted?
Well, of course you do. It's like anything. It's when you're doing one thing or the other. That's why now I try to produce, write, and direct the films myself, because the fewer people you have to deal with, the easier it is. The more you have final say over the product, the easier it is. But for the most part, I've been pretty lucky because the last few films I've produced and directed and only had co-producers, it was a lot easier, because even though they'd come in and say, well, I'd like to do this or I'd like to do that, I still had the final say, so I could say, I'd get everyone's opinion and then say, well, this is the way it's going to be done, and usually didn't have too much problem. But Fred has done a lot more films for actually, for companies. Like most of my films were done, except for Vampire Vixens, which was funded by Shanachie. But most of my films have been private investors. So I really had a lot of the control over it. Where Fred has, in many occasions, worked for some of the bigger companies, and so they try to. Oh, he'll tell you.
Well, whenever you see a review in Variety or someplace, they almost never, ever, ever mention the producer. The producer's name, unless it's a famous producer, and of course the day of the famous producers of George Powell and William Castle and people like that are pretty much gone by. They never mention the producer, but the producer has a lot of power when it comes to screwing things up. And I realized this way back right when I was starting with Armed Response and The Tomb, where they took basically a comedy, and cut all the funny stuff I thought out of it and kind of messed up the movie, and they dubbed Michelle Bauer's voice throughout the entire film with another actress. And they did all these things that we thought was really detrimental. There wasn't anything you could do. You were an employee, And they don't. People think directors have final cut. That's not true. You have to be pretty famous and have it in contract to be in the DGA, or have some kind of special arrangement to get final cut, and you don't get it. And then it goes and it plays in a theater, and you know the ending is stupid. You know it's dumb and it's not what you want to do, but you cannot stand outside with your hat in your hand and tell everybody comes in the theater,
but I would have done it better this way.
This is not my ending. I didn't do this. They did this. They made me do this when it was all over. You can't do that. You will just stand there and take the blame for what the producers made you do, and you'll like it or get out.
A lot of times you got to put up. You have to put up
right.
to make your.
That's
film.
right. Or you just have to shut up and find some other line of business to be in. And let me tell you something. More than once or twice, I've taken the blame for something other people have done. Writers, actors' choices, editors' choices, producers' choices. In the end, the director always gets blamed for everything. Ted didn't start out directing. He started out being a producer, and I think it was problems with directors that led Ted to be a director himself.
That's exactly what happened. Is I wanted to just produce and write because I thought it was just too much to do all of those things and to try to do it well. But as time went on and found out that the more control I gave away on the films, it just became a problem. And I learned that it's very tough to have partners on a film during Metamorphosis, the alien factor. We had, we all agreed on certain things and didn't agree on other things, and so we had this voting situation, and that never worked because you can't really do a film by committee. Someone's got to have final say to be able to say, wait, it's going to be done this way, and that's it. And if not, it just turns into a nightmare, and that's what happened on that film. It was a little easier on Deadly Spawn because there it was a real, collaboration, and that was a little easier. So after that, it just was a lot easier for me from Regenerated Man to Vampire Vixens to do it myself.
Okay. Well, I've produced a lot of pictures, more recently than in the past. Somebody's showing us a bare leg through the window over there. Okay. Anyway, what I find is that I do reserve final say over everything. I don't stand and watch a guy direct. I don't believe in doing that. I don't like it when it's done to me, so I don't do it. We've sent money to Florida, we've sent money to Texas, we've done films right in town, and I try not to stand there and watch someone do it because they are the director and I want them to have what they want. But when they bring the film in, if I think we need to trim something or cut something, I take final cut basically on the films that I have my own money involved in because I'm the one who's going to take the real tumble first. If the movie loses money, I'm going to be the guy who has to lose his money. That's right. So I will watch a first cut from a director, and then I'll tell him what I want to change, and I'll send him back to the drawing board sometimes, and I'll say, you need a couple more shots here, and you need to drop this completely. And but usually, I try to stay out of their hair and give them their own head.
Tonight, oh Horace, we offer you a new disciple, a fresh, untouched flower to adorn the crown of the gods. We, your humble slaves, offer you the virgin dance of the double chainsaws.
Actually, we go pretty far back. I mean, because I think we met when, around 1980.
Oh, I think we were both being ripped off by the same distributor at the same time, 21st Century in New York.
Right.
Ted and I both we called each other because we wanted to find out, are you getting ripped off too?
Yeah.
Our producers were all calling each other to find out, were we all being stolen from, or was it just a
You
rare
had Scalps
thing?
there.
I had Scalps,
and I had Deadly Spawn, and it was a nightmare. We just found out they were ripping us off. And at the time, when we were doing that film, I mean, I was working with Sam Raimi. We were doing the same lab at Studio 16. He was doing a film then titled Book of the Dead, and I was doing Deadly Spawn, so we were screening at the same lab. And he comes in one time and he told me, so I'm thinking of making a title change from Book of the Dead to Evil Dead. He goes, what do you think? And I said, I don't like it. I like Book of the Dead better.
Glad he didn't listen to you.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't listen to me. But so what was the question? I forgot.
Actually, I think one of the most influential directors that I was aware of was probably Roger Corman. And not because I thought Roger's films were so well done, but because Roger could get good films done in very short order and for a little amount of money, which is what I figured my life would always be like. If I ever broke into the business at all, I figured I would probably not break in at the top. I would break in and have to make movies in a low budget. So I loved Roger's a combination of business sense and artistic sense. He took the two elements, and he never tossed one over for the other. Everything he did was a financial success and to some degree an artistic artistic success, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. I've never been willing to throw my investors' monies down the tube to have a vision of some kind of moral, ethical fairy tale or something I want to tell that makes me feel good and nobody else wants to see. I've always tried to make a picture that other people will pay money to see, and I got that from Roger.
I liked Spielberg's work and a lot of the big directors at the time, but trying to pull off a film that looks like a Spielbergian film for $100 grand or $75,000 is very difficult. At the time, when you're first starting out, you think you can do it. I mean, you say, well, I mean, people are working for very little money or whatever, and why can't you take the time, people are on percentage, take the time, set up the camera, do it right. But you find out very quickly that the talent level, the money makes a very, very big difference. And it's like, you finally realize there's only so much you can do in 7 or 8 days as opposed to having 3 or 4 months to shoot a film. And it's very interesting. What? And well, I don't know what to do.
Now, you both have produced and... The show's already going to have gone by, so I don't have to do an intro.
So let's tell them what we really think about some of the other people on this tape.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Ted, stop telling the guy how to direct.
Sorry. I thought you were only filming us from the neck up. Actually, this is probably very good light for this sort of...
That's what I said. It says stay out of direct sunlight. Let's go. We can get done with this. Come on.
Okay, well, I thought we were. Because, who'll use all this shit? Can we sing?
Look, we've got some sadistic nut running around in a monster costume. You saw it.
Yes. Monster.
That's right. I worked with Debbie Rochon.
I didn't.
In Regenerated Man. He didn't work with her yet.
Are you going to work with her?
She's not in California. That does create a problem. Although she is pretty enough, certainly. It's a beautiful girl. Beautiful girl.
Well, right now, there's a film called Hell on Earth that we're planning to do, and it's sort of like a, fantasy horror type thing. It's a hybrid of like Demon Knight and Evil Dead, I guess. It's something we're trying to do on a low budget with pack it with a lot of prosthetic and computer effects. We have access to the technology now, so if we would use it, and we're probably going to have the same people, JJ North and Theresa, and I'm going to ask Greta Thyssen to play the
Tyson. The H
Tyson?
is silent.
Oh.
I thought I corrected you on this last night, dude, right in front of a lot of people.
Well, you have to do it again.
Tyson. Greta Tyson.
Tyson. She's married to the boxer. And I've asked her to play the crazed grandmother, and we're going to talk about it. So she said she'd probably be interested in doing that. Maybe even Conrad Brooks as the father. You never know. It could be a real fun reunion. And of course, I'll have Fred come in and do we're going to try to do cameos in each other's films from now on.
Yeah. So I killed Ted earlier this year.
He killed me, and I give him the penthouse. Leslie Glass, the International Penthouse Pet of the Year in my film. He kills me in his film.
Well, I'll probably die later from having met Leslie Glass. So, I'm kidding. That's bad. Leslie, if you're watching this, I didn't mean it. It was a cheap opportunity. I took it.
Hey, and there's Baltimore's own George Stover. George! Come over here.
Anyway, we have a lot of pictures coming out. We've been really busy this year. We did Droid Gunner with Mark Singer and Matthias Hughes and Ted Boas. And Invisible Mom. Here's George Stover. George, come on over here. We did Invisible Mom, the movie that George refused to be in, where we offered him the part of Stella Stevens' husband, and he didn't want to do such a small, inconsequential part.
Wasn't that.
He said, hey, I've worked with John Waters. I watched the girl eat shit, so I don't do his.
So
I
figure I wouldn't get a free plane ticket for half a day's work.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. So we hired John Ashley from the old Filipino horror films to be in it, and Dee Wallace Stone plays the Invisible Mom, and Russ Tamblyn plays the villain. And we did that, and we did a little movie called Masseuse, and I did 3 days of ghost directing on a movie with Roddy McDowall and Stella Stevens called Star Hunter. And I did 3 days on another little movie, picking up the pieces for another director on a movie called Virtual Desire. When I get back tomorrow, I start a picture called Over the Wire for the Playboy Channel, and I've got a fall project probably for Roger Corman.
You won't let me be in that one.
So anyway, I've been pretty busy this year, and I've got a lot of stuff coming out. Ted and I both have been involved in publishing for years. I've got one book out by McFarlane and one that I'm writing now. In my own publishing work, I've got 2 books out already through our own American Independent Press. I own a carnival sideshow and travel around the country with the freak babies and 2-headed calves. I promote professional wrestling matches. And we produce like instructional videos like the one we did with Ginger Baker, the drummer for Cream. We did Ginger Baker's drum video. And I don't know how much more diversified you can get than that, but I might be able to pick a little bit on the banjo.
Yeah, we both publishing. I did SPFX Special Effects Magazine in the late 70s, and which I might revitalize again. And I'm writing a book now called Making Low-Budget Science Fiction Films, a Real Horror Story. And I'm about in chapter 2, and I've gotten a couple of agents looking at it, and they're going to, probably make a deal, hopefully sometime this year.
I also wrote the liner notes for the new CD that came out called Stock Footage, the music of Roger Corman films, and I have my own Laserdisc label, Fred Olen Ray's Laser Drive-In, the first release being August 22nd, a letterboxed reissued master of Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers on my own label through the Roan Group.
Hey, maybe your label can do Deadly Spawn instead of that other
that's a very good idea, Ted. Maybe we could do some business right here.
That would be wonderful.
I heard a rumor they want to release the Alien Factor. Your label? No?
No, that's not true, George. Okay. A lack of good materials.
Ooh. Don't believe in rumors. That's the first thing.
Well, I'd like to thank you all very much, and I hope all of you. Okay, tell us about some of the films you've done with John Waters.
Well, I started off in...
What was Liz Renee really like?
What does she really taste like?
Well, were the 60-foot centerfolds really 60 feet tall? Or just 60,
no, but
60 feet around?
They were big. I loved it. I had a ball.
Oh, you kiss ass.
No, I've told everybody that, whether the director's next to me or not.
Watch.
I had a great time.
The role in The Regenerated Man?
It was smaller, but it was. I keep remembering that old expression.
Well,
there are no small roles, only small actors. So, it was fun. It was a cold night in that warehouse, Ted. You could have at least gotten some.
At least I got you a jacket.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we took pretty good care of you, George, didn't we?
Oh, I had a great, wonderful.
We fed him, we wined and dined him, and
wine got me drunk one night. I was
humiliated him, pantsed him in public.
Right, they took his pants down.
Oh, he doesn't remember that.
On his ass.
No, he doesn't remember that part.
I forgot all about that. But no.
And he got the girl.
That's right. She's here. She was here. She was here this weekend.
Oh, you could have got Debbie done. She left. Oh, by the way, she doesn't say goodbye to you.
That's okay. I'll see her tomorrow, probably back home.
No, it was a great trip. I had a great experience.
Is that it? Are we done?
Are we done?
Are you going to work with Fred on anything else?
Well, I hope so.
Not the rate he keeps turning me down. I only let him turn me down once.
No, that was a total misunderstanding. I didn't.
Yeah, right.
No, and Stella was really bugged because I showed her photos of George, and she thought he was perfect for the part. Then I had to substitute John Ashley, who she didn't think looked like her husband at all.
Oh, no.
So I had to take some stuff off of her.
That's right.
For George not wanting it because it was beneath his stature. No. It wasn't beneath Stella Stevens' stature to play the role.
No.
George thought it was all too small for him.
Speaking of temperamental actors.
Stella Stevens is wonderful, but George is extremely temperamental.
No.
Pain in the ass, Stover, they call him.
No. As a matter of fact, in the credits it says George Pain in the ass Stover. That's it. So I don't think we should ever use that.
Well, I'm going to try to bribe Fred with a Jungle Captive one sheet, give him a good deal, and maybe he'll give me a role in exchange.
You have an eye on that, did you?
I heard.
He gives you Jungle Captive. Me, he gives a signed picture of him.
Well, I already got 4 signed pictures of George already.
You got 4?
I collect the whole set.
Oh man, we can trade.
All right, we're done. I got a feeling. This is it.
Over the past 20 years, Troma has supplied the world with B-movies. And now we are proud to present to you some of their greatest trailers, with a few surprises on the way. Look for me in their upcoming film, Romeo and Juliet.
Meet little Melvin. He's a 90-pound weakling. Everyone hated Melvin.
I'm gonna take this mop and shove it down your throat.
They teased him.
I'm gonna do it with you. Okay.
They taunted him. They tormented him until he had a horrifying accident and fell into a vat of nuclear waste. transforming little Melvin into a hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength. Melvin became the Toxic Avenger. The first superhero born out of nuclear waste.
I don't know what it was, but it saved my life.
The Toxic Avenger can leap small cars in a single bound, smashes hit-and-run drivers, and gives all criminals their just desserts. He's a hero. He's a fighter. He's a lover.
Why, Melvin, you're beautiful.
The good citizens love him. The fat and corrupt hate him.
Kill that bastard for me. You gotta kill him.
Yeah? Will he survive?